Right, another player who has been of interest to Manchester United in the past, may still be, we're not too sure, but it is a story to keep a close eye on before deadline day, and that is Jean-Philippe Mateta, who has told Crystal Palace that he wants to leave the club. Latest blow in the terrible few days for Palace. What's the latest then in terms of Mateta, and what are the different ways that this could play out over the next few days?
Oh, it's messy for Crystal Palace, and I really feel for Crystal Palace. You know, last season, their most successful season as a football club, winning a major trophy, qualifying for Europe, and then the past week has been utterly horrendous, hasn't it? Mark Gay, their captain, leaving, Oliver Glasner saying he's going to leave at the end of the season. Now Jean-Philippe Mateta, his future's up in the air. Look, we understand he actually wanted to leave in the summer. Multiple clubs actually tried to sign the player in the summer. He wants to play Champions League football. There was even a late inquiry from Spurs in the summer, but Crystal Palace kept hold of him. Clubs in Italy, Atalanta, AC Milan, Juventus, very keen. Now, Juventus initially wanted him on loan in this window, but this was something that never materialised. Crystal Palace were not entertaining a loan move, even with a short fee of around €2 million. The player is desperate to play Champions League football. He's got 18 months left on his contract, 28 years old, nearly 29 years old, and he sees his future away, and he sees this as an opportunity to do it. But for Crystal Palace, you've got to look and go, can they afford to let their captain go? Can they afford to let their main man go up front? And they want to stand firm. They won't want to let him go in this window.
What do you make of where Palace are right now? Because they win their first trophy, playing brilliant football under Glasner, start the season well as well. They managed to cope with selling Eze to Arsenal. Now, all of a sudden, it seems to be falling apart. You know, they've lost Gay, Mateta wants out, Glasner is going to leave at the end of the summer. Everyone knows that. He's kicked off against the owners. What could Palace have done to avoid this? Or was this just inevitable? When you're a club like Crystal Palace and you're doing well, big clubs come in and raid your talent.
Unfortunately, I think it's inevitable. I think that's just the way that Palace works, and I have to say, I think Steve Parish has done an amazing job of navigating that squad and recouping good money for players that. I know Dougie Freedman's not there anymore as sporting director, but he done a great job of getting some great young players in. They've got good money, and how unlucky have they been? I mean, even with the European competition that they then have to drop down into the lower version of it. Listen, I think it's just the way where Palace are at, and unfortunately, when everything's going great and you're flying and winning games, maybe players are okay to stick around, and when it looks like the manager's not going to be there the next year, when they see other players, their teammates know that they're moving on, and maybe the Mateta situation, they said, well, I've stayed and weren't allowed to go in the summer, now you're letting people go. I want to go as well then. Because, listen, Palace, we know, is not a club that are going to compete with the big money men in the league, and they've got I know Steve Parish has got people to answer to regarding getting money into the football club, so that's a hard thing to juggle at times when you're a Palace fan and you know you've just watched your most successful season ever, and what a 18 months they've had.
Yeah, and I think on that as well with Steve Parish, he's a tough businessman. He won't let Mateta go for nothing just because a player's come to him and said, I want to leave, I see my future away. He's not going to sit there and go, okay, well, we'll accept the first offer for you. They value him of around £35 million. Now, that for Juventus seems potentially quite steep. That might be too steep for a lot of clubs looking at bringing in a 28, nearly 29-year-old who's got a little bit left at 18 months on his contract. The fee might be tricky, and that's where I think the stumbling block may be in this window. But we know what January can be like, and January is, as much as it's a difficult month to get business done, if a club is desperate for a player or wants a striker desperately, who are always so sought after in any transfer window, that potentially could be a deal that could happen towards the end of the window.
In all of this, I mean, obviously they're going to miss Gay, they're going to miss Eze, they already do. If Mateta goes, they're going to miss him. But is the biggest regret not holding on to Glasner in some ways? Because especially now that he said that he's going, the whole thing could fall apart. Other players could leave.
But I imagine they've been trying to, and maybe Glasner has options that might come to fruition in the summer. Maybe
they could have kept him more happy, couldn't they, with players coming in?
Well, I mean, again, I think that's difficult to do when you've got people to answer to upstairs with where Palace are at. They would have hoped to maybe get a little bit more money in by going into the Europa, whatever one it is, conference, yeah, rather than the one. Yeah.
Chelsea won it. You
I
should know about it.
Yeah, but I don't really count those sort of. But listen, I just think that's where Palace are at, and they're probably offered Glasner multiple contracts that he's turned down. So listen, it's a difficult job running a football club at the best of times, let alone when you're kind of trying to fight success with balance in the books.
Yeah.